You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
So at the moment we're hearing those interviews I did when I was out and about at Faversham. Of course, on Thursday when the Olympic flame came to us here in Swale, I was on the recreation ground, and after speaking to the army cadets, I thought I would head back over to Nicole Mallet, but this time talk to her all about Room. It was quite an unusual situation, I understand, after talking to Nicole, to have Room and the Kent Cultural Baton together. And the first thing I asked Nicole was, what is Room doing here in Faversham?
Well, today it is showcasing a very special exhibition of a homemade, so to speak, Olympic torch that one of the children, local children here in Faversham, designed, and it got chosen in a competition and actually fabricated. So that's just for today because it's a special day. But then in the future, Room has got a very exciting programme ahead of itself. Firstly, it's going to, after this week's over, we're going to be travelling to Medway, and it's going to be part of a project called Urban Fringes, which is run by Kent Architectural Society? Kent Architecture organisation, I can't remember the name.
Right.
And that's happening during August until mid-September. And then Room will travel to Brighton, where it's going to be a very important piece of the Brighton Photo Biennale, which is quite a major festival that happens there annually. Every 2 years, actually, sorry. And that's happening in mid-September, all of October. And then after that, it's actually going to keep on going along the coast to Hastings, because Hastings Art College has requested that it be there. So yeah, Room is more or less programmed now until next January, but we are looking for people to offer for reasons and ideas for it to come back to Swale and North Kent area in the new year in 2012. So if anybody wants to make some suggestions, you can go look for my contact details on our blog, which is www.roomnorthkent.wordpress.com, and all the details are on that, and also it shows all the previous projects.
Nicole, as always, it's good to speak to you.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
So, after speaking to Nicole Mallet, I decided to head back to the pavilion at the recreation ground in Faversham, as I was using that as my base whilst doing the series of interviews to try and capture the day that the Olympic flame came to Faversham. And I must say a big thanks to Lynn Newton at Swale for allowing me to use that as a base. And when I went in there, I bumped into Lynn, and she took me over to the cricket ground building at the back of the recreation ground in Faversham, and I was really lucky enough to catch up with a mayor from Belgium who had come to see the flame come to Swale, as his town is twinned with Sittingbourne. This is what he had to say when I spoke to him. Okay, so we're now joined with Hannah. He's from Belgium and he's twinned with us. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what you do and the sort of equivalent that you are in Belgium.
Okay, I'm the mayor of Ypres, and Ypres, I think, for most British people is well known due to the horror of World War I and the fact that 500,000 of young people died in our region. So since, I suppose, over 40 years, Ypres is twinned with Sittingbourne, so also with the Count of Swale. And now I got an invitation to come over to see the torch here passing through Faversham. So the fact that it's July and most of the people also in Ypres are on holiday, it was a good opportunity to see our friends and colleagues here in Swale on one hand, but also to express our support to the fact that the Olympics are here in Great Britain and in particular in London.
So this is the first time you've actually been here locally?
No. I cannot say that I'm a regular visitor, but at least I was here for, I suppose, some 4 or 5 times. I'm the mayor already in Ypres for 16 years.
All right.
That's a different system in Belgium than it used to be here. So the mayor is elected as, let's say, the leader of the majority in the city council. So that's the reason that I'm elected and re-elected for 3 times already.
So looking forward to seeing the flame come through, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've been walking here in the park. And I think that the most important thing of the torch here in Faversham is, I suppose, the social effects of the whole event. So you see that a lot of youngsters are involved. They are doing some sports here this afternoon. A lot of people are involved, and neighbors who meet each other, talking together. I think the social effects I suppose this gives a boost to social life on the local level, and that's very important.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
So we're continuing to hear the series of interviews I did to try and capture the day that the Olympic flame came to us here in Swale in Faversham. And we're at the point where I was in the cricket building at the back of the recreation ground in Faversham. And after speaking to the mayor from Belgium, I also got the opportunity to meet the Russian Olympic riding team. Now, I actually did do a little interview with them, but they obviously were only able to speak to me in Russian, and they had their translator with them. So what I've done is that little interview I did with them, I've put online as a podcast for you to access all the usual ways. And once I'd finished speaking to the Olympic Russian riding team, I was able to speak to the lady who owns the venue that the team are staying in, and this is what she had to say when I spoke to her. So we're now joined with Ksenia, and we've just been speaking to the Russian riding team. Now they're actually staying with Ksenia. Ksenia, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us here at BRFM.
Thank you very much. We are very honoured to house the Russian Olympic equestrian team at Highhorn Farm, which is obviously situated in Borden, and we're just hoping that they're ready to go, because Olympics are starting pretty soon.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the background into your farm and what you do there?
Yes, well, originally the farm was, going back 30 years ago, it used to be a fruit farm, then eventually was taken over by a family who developed it as a stud for dressage horses, and then my husband and I took it over now a year and a half ago, and we have invested a lot of our personal time, effort, money, and to make it into a premier training facility for horses, for race horses, but just as we were about to launch, we were asked to bid to become a pre-training Olympic yard, which we did, and we were successful. So that's the story in brief.
When did you hear you would be hosting the Russian team?
Well, the process was quite formal, so we had to make an application, such as many other yards, to house the team. We had to make a presentation. We flew to Moscow with my husband, made a presentation to the president of the Russian Federation of Equestrian Sport, and they looked into several yards. We were shortlisted. Then they came to visit. The head trainer came to visit, assess the premises, and he decided that it was an excellent place for them to stay, very convenient for Greenwich, and generally they liked Kent as well, so we were very lucky, I suppose, yeah.
Thank you very much for telling us all about it.
Thank you.
So that is all the interviews that I did when I was out and about on Thursday, capturing the day that the Olympic flame came to us here in Swale in Faversham. And I must say, it really was a great day and a real family day. And I must say, I was amazed just how enthusiastic and passionate the crowds were as the flame came through Faversham.